Hi everyone. I wanted to talk today a little bit about emotions. I wanted to talk about the emotions that I felt and continue to feel going through this process. I'm sure many people have experienced very similar emotions, and so I wanted to share a little bit about that. As I was thinking about this, it took me back to a time when I was probably around 32 or 33 years old, and I had decided to go to college. I took a class in death and dying, and during that class, one of the things we learned about was the grieving process that people go through when they lose a loved one. And I found that my experience going through breast cancer raised a lot of the same emotions that people experience when they go through the grieving process. And I found that interesting, but I guess it makes sense. You are grieving, you are going through a very emotional process. And so I wanted to just give you some examples of some of the things that I experienced emotionally. The first thing that I noticed going through this was that I absolutely went into a state of denial. I knew that I had found something very unusual. I knew that it was like no other lump I had ever felt before. I knew it was different. But I didn't want to acknowledge that. Maybe I bumped into something. Maybe it was a bruise. Maybe anything but cancer. Couldn't be cancer. I have no family history of breast cancer. So it couldn't be. I get my mammograms every single year. So it couldn't be. And I even remember when the doctor came to me after my mammogram and my ultrasound and said, I wish I could have a different conversation with you right now. The good news is that it doesn't appear that the lymph nodes are affected. The bad news is I'm 98% positive that what we're looking at is breast cancer. And I can remember looking at him and just going, okay. And then they wanted me to go in and talk to a lady about getting a biopsy set up. And my friend Peggy was with me, so I went in to talk about the biopsy, and even listening to them say, this looks like breast cancer. I can remember saying to Peggy, oh, I'm sure it's fine. It's probably nothing. I'm a little clumsy. I could have bumped into something. It's fine. And I remember having the conversation with my daughter Mandy and saying, well, I know they said that it could be breast cancer, that it looks like it's breast cancer, that he's 98% positive that it's breast cancer, but surely not. It can't be breast cancer. I have no family history. I've had no real reason for concern. I go every year for my mammogram. I would know if this was cancer. Can't be. I carried that denial with me for as long as I possibly could. I was even certain that the biopsy had to be wrong. Had to be. But it wasn't. The next thing I recognized that I went through was bargaining. If I could just bargain my way out of this, talk to God, tell him, I'll pay it forward, I'll do things right, I'll be a better person, I'll make this right somehow, I'll talk to people, I'll educate people, I'll do all the right things. Just take this away. Take this away. That's not an option. It's not just going to be taken away. I bargained a lot, and I found myself reflecting a lot on my past, decisions I'd made, on the times that maybe I should have done things different in my life, the times maybe I made choices that hurt other people, the things that I did that I wished I could change, but I couldn't. I found myself even having conversation with God saying, I know I'm not the best person. I know I've made so many mistakes. I know I've let you down. But I can make it better. I know I can. Just give me the opportunity. Give me the opportunity to make it better. I'll be more gracious. I'll be more helpful. I'll be better to the people closest to me. I'll be better to the stranger on the street. I'll be better. Just give me the opportunity. And I know I'll have that opportunity, but I can't change what's done. I've been known to have conversations, and one of them I remember very well was with my son Dakota, where he was talking about his past and choices he had made. And I said to him, I said, Dakota, I want you to think about it this way. Imagine yourself getting in your car. You're going to drive forward, but you're going to do it while the entire time looking in your rearview mirror. What's going to happen, Dakota? You're only going to look in your rearview mirror. And he said, well, I'm going to crash. I said, that's right. And I said, that's the same thing that happens in your life if you spend too much time looking in the rearview mirror. You've got a whole beautiful life ahead of you. You can't change your past. It's okay to glance back at it. It's okay to recognize the lessons that have come from that. But it's not okay to live in it. It's not okay to spend your life looking in your rearview mirror. Embrace what's ahead of you. Learn from what's behind you. And I really had to have that conversation with myself again and remind myself that none of this happened because of choices I made in my past. None of this could have been prevented by living differently. And I learned so much from the things that I did in my past, from the choices I made. I did become a better person. I can't live in that past. Another thing that I recognized that I went through, and this is probably the hardest one for me to talk about, the most overwhelming, is guilt. Guilt. I felt guilty for getting cancer. I felt guilty for having to tell my kids, I've got cancer. I felt guilty for being in a new relationship, less than a year, and having to say, I know you told me you were in this for the long haul, but I feel so guilty. I've got cancer. I probably even went to some extremes to push people out of my life. To not have them go through something that they didn't have to. I have to go through this. I don't have a choice. But the people around me, they have a choice. And I pushed hard to just say, you don't have to be here. You don't have to go through this. The guilt was overwhelming and still is. I try to recognize the fact that there is nobody in my life that doesn't want to be here. There's nobody sharing this experience with me that doesn't want to share it. But the guilt is still something that I struggle with. the desire to push people away, to protect them. It's really difficult. I have to go through this, and I love and appreciate all of those who have stood by me as I go through it, because you didn't have to. I also think that I have gone through moments of sadness. I don't know whether I would call it depression. Maybe it is situational, but I've definitely had very sad moments. Sad moments where I recognize that my life has just changed. What my life used to be, uh, my ponytails, my fun clothes, going out dancing, socializing, it's all changed. And change is something that's always been challenging for me. I've never liked change. I've never done well with it. And this is such a drastic change. And so I do get sad sometimes. I do want that life back that I recognize. I don't recognize this life. But I know that someday things will be back the way they were. And this will be an experience that's in my past. And I will have learned from it. And I will have found many blessings, as I already have. I truly have such an amazing support system and so many people around me who have reached out and who are helping me in so many different ways. Lessons and blessings in everything. And I recognize that. It doesn't mean I won't still have my moments of being sad. It doesn't mean that I won't still have those moments when I just wish I could turn things back to the way it used to be. But I'll also tell you that there's a peace that eventually you will feel. And it's an acceptance. It's an acceptance that, yes, life has changed. And you may not recognize it. But you're going to move forward and you're going to do what you need to do. And each step that you take in this is one step closer to that happier, healthier life, the life that you recognized before. And it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling today. These emotions don't come separately. You don't go through the denial and the guilt and everything that you go through individually. You may feel them throughout your day. You may feel the grief, the sorrow, the guilt, the depression. Throughout your day, it comes in waves. You've got ups and downs and everything that you're going to feel. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to have those times when all you want to do is talk about cancer. That's all. You just want to talk about it. It's okay to have those days when you don't even want to hear the word. You don't want to think about it. You don't want to talk about it. It's okay. And the people around you, they're there because they love you. They're there because they want to be a part of your life. They're there for you. Don't push them away. And if you do, acknowledge it. Acknowledge that I'm going through this because it's okay. Embrace your feelings, acknowledge your feelings, and just learn to love the life you're living. It's a beautiful life. It's not perfect. But You don't have to step too far out your own front door to find someone who's got it so much worse. Embrace each emotion as it comes. Feel it. Until next time, peace and love.